Hello everyone, this is Siddharth Mehta. I am mentor at Career Launcher Bhilai, and it's my privilege to have two esteemed guests with me today. I mean, one is the legend in the field of aptitude, GP sir, Gautam Puri sir, commonly known as GP sir, aptitude guru of India, and has vast experience in the field of CAT and CLAT training. And the other is the man of the moment, or I should say mentor of the moment, Rahul Reddy sir, All India rank 3 in CLAT. And we are here to discuss about about the journey of Rahul sir, All India rank 3, and I am also here to take the perspective of GP sir on what is the emphasis of career launcher and on mentoring perspective, and several other debatable issues which people call debatable, but we have our own point of view on it, and I am here to listen the point of view of these two gentlemen. So let me start. So, firstly, I will ask GP sir. Sir, Career Launcher is an organization. I have been associated with Career Launcher for past 13 years. And every year, as an organization, Career Launcher puts emphasis on the faculties across India, the mentors across India, taking the CAT exam, taking the CLAT exam, and whatever exams we prepare for. We, as Career Launcher as an organization, put a lot of emphasis on that faculty should write the exam, mentor should write the exam. May I know why this belief, strong belief on faculty taking the exam?
Okay, Siddharth, there are two, three different issues involved in this. First of all, we want all faculty to take these exams, whatever they are preparing students for, because if we expect a student to be competent in all areas, we expect our faculty also to be competent in all areas. Okay, so it is not that we expect a student to do something which we cannot do ourselves. That's the first and foremost thing. Secondly, this also tells us how good our faculty is. Are they able to implement the strategies we think are the ones they should be using in the class or teaching the students? Because if you cannot implement it yourself, then what you're going to teach is also going to be a challenging thing for you. Okay? Thirdly, as far as these exams are concerned, outside the exam, all papers look very easy. I think that's one small standard feature I've always find. If you give this year's paper to next year's student, it's such an easy paper. This year's student was saying last year's paper was very easy. So everyone feels that the paper you get is very easy, is the difficult one, others were easy. But when you are taking the same paper inside the examination hall, it is a difficult paper. Why is it difficult? Because you have got time pressure. You have to work like a student. You have to manage your time across sections. You have to leave the difficult. So all those things we say that gets tested out there. So in the examination hall, it is difficult, and hence, as a mentor, as an organization, when we have to guide our students as to what is a good score, you cannot say I will evaluate the paper outside and then decide. No, when you are taking the paper, the number of questions you have been able to attempt, the what is the level of difficulty you feel, that is a real test of the, let's say, level of difficulty of the paper, and hence it becomes easier for us to predict. So from a student's perspective, our cutoffs, our predictions of the likely cutoffs and the good score in each of the papers is much better because we take the papers ourselves. So it is to test ourselves. Most importantly, it is to see whether our strategies work or not. It is to be able to give the right guidance to the students as to what is a good score and how to go about doing it. And so these are the essential reasons why we do it. And the only exam we don't do it, or the exams we do it, we are not able to do it for, are the one where there's an age limit. So if there's no age limit, we are happy going to take all the papers. I've been taking these papers for now since 95. I've been taking CAT continuously. Off and on, I keep taking CLAT and other papers also. And IPM, there's an age limit, so we don't take it. We take CUET also. Any exam that we are preparing students for, we think we should be taking it. Otherwise, we will not be doing justice to the students.
Thank you, sir. So if I have to summarize, there are three things. First is the competence of the person who is mentoring you or teaching you. Second is the strategy, because next year we come up with the mocks, we come up with our class sheets materials, which should be as close to the actual exam that happened in the previous year. And the third, and according to me, I also take CAT and CLAT every year. The most important thing is being empathetic towards these students. They feel like in those 2 hours. It's very, very important for a mentor to understand. Now I move to Rahul sir. Now there was this news headline, a very catchy headline that was there in Times of India, I think. Student of Bangalore bags second rank, his mentor third.
Yes.
I mean, nobody in India can read that newspaper would have missed the news, even if that person wouldn't have been from the field of CLAT. This is something so amazing. Rahul sir, I'm sure that you must be absolutely proud of two things. One, of your own achievement. And second, as a true mentor, you will believe and you will be more proud of the fact that your student has, you know, get a rank ahead of you. That I mean, please describe that feeling.
Right. Absolutely. Let me just make it more intriguing for you. On the day the results were published, they were published in the evening. On that afternoon, I was sitting with some of the students who were expecting good scores, including Pradhyot Shah, right? And we were discussing, and we realized that we had the exact same score at after the release of the updated answer key at 105.5. Then I said, look, you will have a higher score. We have done one better in legal, so you will have the higher rank. I don't know, it's good, it's going to be a very good rank. I can't predict what it will be, but you will definitely be at least one above me. And that's how it turned out, right? uh, I think but you're right, the this story, how it worked out, it works out as a human interest story, right? But it would also be fair for me to say that a lot more than me went into training of Pradyot or any of our toppers. There is an entire system at work at Career Launcher which creates the training, from the material to the marks to the actual teaching. There are a range of faculty teaching each of these areas, doing mentors, doubt clearing, master stroke. So yeah, because of the 2 and 3 rank, I got highlighted, but I think it's the system that has shown that it works. And that's a great feeling in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming to the other question, which I called as bit debatable in the beginning. Now there is a section which believes that mentors and faculty should not take the actual exam. The people every year they tweet to PMO, they write here and there that as a mentor we are perhaps causing them more harm than any good. So let me start with GP sir. Sir, what are your views on this? You take CAT every year, you take CLAT every year. We all do that, but I mean, let me ask you, do you really believe that there is some ethical question in this? So I'm sure that
No,
you have your own reasons.
no.
So please.
There's no ethical dilemma as far as I'm concerned. See, the only reason for me not to make an answer would be if I would take away the seat of a student from an NLU. If because of my marking answers a student is not able to join NLU, if because of my marking answers student is not able to get into an MBA Institute of Research, then I should not be doing it. Uh, for example, in this particular case, Rahul is not a part of the counseling process. It is not that he's looking at making a career in law. He's not looking at shifting. So he's not taking away anyone's seat. So there's no ethical dilemma as far as I'm concerned. I think it is too stretched out the thing to say that just because that person took a NLU in Bangalore will still have the same number of students even without Rahul. So whether Rahul is rank 3 or 30 or 300 or 3000 does not matter to NLU because he's not a part of the counseling process. So frankly, no ethical dilemmas. I think it is stretching something and it is just trying to let's say gain some popularity by highlighting something which can become controversial.
Yeah. Personally, I believe that only two or three people can have some sort of grievance against Rahul sir. All India ranked 10 because he did not get a single digit rank. All India ranked 100 because he did not get a double digit rank, and maybe 1000. Other than that, there is no practical implication as such of faculty doing well here in the exam. But also, I am sure that you must have came across both the set of parents. Some parents are delighted, and I believe majority of the parents are delighted when they see that the faculty is going inside the exam, or at least personally, I have met at least 90% of the parents will say that, oh, sir, you are doing some great effort by taking the exam with the kids. But then there are few who might believe that this is not right. So have you came across, and because you might be dealing with them directly, how do you handle such things?
I think I have been fortunate enough that I have not come across a single student or a parent face to face who has said that I've done anything wrong to them. I subscribe to GP Sir's view very clearly. If any harm is being done to a student, I mean, that's a direct ethical boundary that teachers won't cross, right? But I'm very clear that seats will not be the same, so they're going to get in there, right? Most of the parents are very happy. A lot of them in my last PTM congratulated me. I think what is even more important to me is they have this trust in their eye that they made the right choice when they enroll student with career launcher, because they know that sir goes the extra mile. And I'm also telling them that it's not only me, there are other teachers who do this. We are going the extra mile to ensure that we know absolutely everything about the exam, and all that knowledge will be used to mentor their child. So I don't see any aspect to that. There are a lot of students who came back and said, "Sir, I saw you were there in my center, in my classroom." Sometimes, one of the toppers I interviewed said that she was in the same classroom that I was at the time of writing. All these are happy coincidences. The students that I met, the parents that I met are all happy. So uh, it's only things in the news sometimes that you hear that it could affect somebody's career, but nobody has personally said that to me.
And no, it does
So,
not impact anyone's career. It's my Siddharth. Hypothetically, let me say rank 1 to rank 100 are all faculty members. All that means is rank 101 will be the first person to get into NLU Bangalore. Doesn't impact anyone. It's stupidity to even be talking about this.
The
right.
other thing that you will see is if this adds a little credibility. See, we have confidence that we are good teachers and we know what we are teaching, but it's also the credibility from the student side. If it adds a little bit of credibility, it makes few more students take us more seriously, follow our advice. Then think of all the positive impact that students will have by saying, okay, earlier I was not sure, but now that sir is a ranker, I will follow the strategies that he's suggesting. That itself will
Absolutely.
improve the students performance.
Absolutely. So I have secured highest rank in CLAT. My highest rank is AIR 96. In CAT, I have secured 99 percentile many times, and you are absolutely right. A student and parent, they find a lot of confidence then when they come to us that okay, what he is saying, he must be knowing something. The other thing, Rahul sir, I mean, as a faculty, I really feel proud of taking the exam, and we never shy away from saying that we take exam. We never shy away from saying that our students have outperformed us in the exam, and that is what we actually want. This entire episode of all the faculty taking exam is because of that. We want our students to outperform. We want them to excel in their career. So it is very loud and clear. All the audience, all the viewers who are viewing, we are absolutely proud of this culture of career launcher, that faculty goes inside the exam room, feel what a student is feeling, and strategize and make amendments to our study material or mock test, everything, uh, you know, for the next year students. Now coming to the preparation part, all three of us are from the business school background, B school background, MBA graduates. None of us from law background, and there is a lot of thinking behind this, that somebody from law background can take the classes for the CLAT. And perhaps what Rahul sir was saying, that it adds credibility if we do well in the CLAT. Yes, this is that adds credibility. That is also one of the reasons. So Rahul sir, the CLAT exam is as such about reading. Majority, or I should say 80 marks out of 120 was based on the reading section. People consider legal as a separate thing, but personally, I believe it has nothing to do with law. It has only to do with reading and reasoning. What are your views on that, on the legal section? And then I will go to GP sir to hear his view on the legal section.
Right. So the consortium basically states that the legal aptitude section does not require any prior knowledge of law. And it is true in the sense that all the legal principles needed to solve the questions are there in the passage. We know it for the purpose of the audience. Let me say a passage is given. The passage contains certain legal principles. You will have to answer questions based on the legal principles and application of that legal principles to specific problems. So, for example, we had a particular legal principle regarding the inheritance rights of children from void and voidable marriages. And there were cases given. A particular person got married, then was an earlier marriage, therefore, this marriage is a void marriage, but there are some children. What are the inheritance rights? You are applying what is already given. Now, but it does help for people to get used to the kind of reasoning involved. I'm not even calling it a legal aptitude, it's more of reasoning, right? So when they deal with a lot of cases of how different laws are applied, when they test out different scenarios, lot of you've seen that in legal classes, it tends to be very a lively debate keeps going on. So they're saying, but sir, what if this happens, what if that happens? So the thinking really develops, and that helps them solve questions with greater accuracy and probably also more speed in the legal aptitude section.
All right. GP sir?
But just one thing, I've also had some very interesting debates with our legal faculty. A lot of conversation where we debate laws, including controversial ones. Article 370 we discussed and all that. So maybe that has something to do with my aptitude getting a little sharper.
All right. GP sir, legal section, is
Yeah.
it necessary that a person has to be from law background?
No, it is not necessary that the person has to be from law background. We started training students for law or CLAT. Then it was not CLAT, but for NLU entrance exams in 2000, and I was the first legal faculty in career launch LST. Okay, so frankly, and I strongly believe that anyone who can think logically would always be able to take care of it. However, void versus voidable is something I will have to study. A lawyer will know. So there's an advantage of being a lawyer there, but that does not put a non-lawyer at a disadvantage. So I would say that anyone can teach legal reasoning, because remember, we are not teaching for LLM. We are teaching for CLAT, which is for a UG program, and knowledge of law is not required. But if you are in that environment, if you have discussions based on the legal principle, the actual legal situation also, your thinking, as Rahul said, it gets evolved, and you're able to handle more complex issues much more comfortably in the examination. Okay, so there's a certain component of legal knowledge which comes from lawyers. There's a certain component of legal thinking which can be developed if you are having discussion on these issues. So I think it's perfectly fine for, and which is why in career launch and LST you'll find we have a mix of legal and non-legal faculty, or let me say lawyers and non-lawyers, who are there teaching legal. For example, I teach legal, Rahul teaches legal, you teach legal. None of us is a lawyer, but there are lots of legal NLU graduates who are there with career launcher, with LST, and obviously all of them are lawyers. So it is a healthy mix which has to be there. It is not this versus that. It is both of us together are able to create a system which benefits the student.
Just one small point I wanted to add is that there is a risk that happens when a lawyer actually takes the legal aptitude test paper and then applies outside information.
Yeah.
At least we don't have that kind of a risk. They overthink the paper, they apply information which they have studied elsewhere, try to put it here, and they mess up the questions. So one of the things that we should do with this paper is take the consortium's word at face value and say, "Ki, whatever principle is there in the passage, I will use it. Anything else I might have heard of, I'm going to ignore it. I'm not going to apply that."
Mm.
So what we typically say in reading comprehension passages also, right? And apply what has been given in the passage.
Try what is
GP sir, I don't know if you remember this or not. In the old CLAT pattern,
Hmm.
as you told, I'm an engineer and MBA graduate from XLRI. I taught law, and if you remember, I wrote a book, and also torts and contracts chapter were edited by Mohan Prasad, who was then at that time. The book was
Right.
about to be, but then the CLAT changed their pattern, and then that never happened. It was based on the old principle pack thing. So
That's right.
I read it and I found it comfortable, and then I wrote the book on it. Right.
Hmm.
So not
See,
required.
end of the day, what has to be, what is critical is what Rahul said, and here I tend to go exactly with what the CLAT authorities say, CLAT consortium says. Of course, legal knowledge is not required. However, I will go a step beyond and say understanding of legal principles, understanding of law, having an interest in the legal domain, discussing those issues is always going to be helpful.
Correct. Right. Right. Now there is another thing which students talk about a lot, and which is general knowledge. We will come to the third thing, quant, but first general knowledge. So Rahul sir, I think a big difference between your rank and what I get is our knowledge on general knowledge. Okay, right. So do you prepare something for general knowledge, or it is simply that you read and things stick to your mind?
Yeah, I think I do read a lot. I have a fully loaded Kindle with me all the time, with
Okay.
both fiction, non-fiction, and all kinds of titles which are there. Very eclectic kind of a mix of taste that I do. Newspapers since childhood has been something that does that. But yes, compared to students, for example, students who put in a lot of effort generally have a bit of an edge over me in the GK section because they've put in much more structured preparation as far as GK is concerned. They've gone through Manthan, they've gone through sometimes other sources, they've made notes and so on. But this year, what happened was a little odd that a lot of the answers were there in the paper. So, but this is an exception. I don't want any student saying that this will be the rule and therefore next year I don't have to prepare for GK. That would be dangerous. It's rather you prepare and not be useful rather than don't prepare and then be caught completely by surprise. But in the previous years, for example, students typically outscore me as far as the good students typically outscore me as far as GK is concerned. But one specific thing I want to highlight here is sometimes people go overboard as far as GK is concerned. Right? They go into trivia, they go into the UPSC kind of websites and books, which are like, this is not meant for this purpose. And there are people who lose sleep, putting 6 hours a day on GK. I think that's a bit of overkill. Puts a lot of pressure on the student, tags their memory, and so on. Yes, GK is important. It should be prepared. At Career Launcher, for example, we regularly say that read a good newspaper thoroughly. We also say that we have something called Manthan, which is very comprehensive, which anyway does the job of curating important bits of information from multiple sources. In addition to that, you want to add one more source, that's also fine. But I mean, learn to draw a line somewhere because otherwise GK is so vast that you probably spend up all your time in GK and then worrying about it too much. That's the part. It's also important that when the consortium says events of significance, understand that events have to be significant. Try to avoid the trivial events. Is except that when something happens today, they are going into the background. So, for example, if the Gaza conflict is happening today, they could go into the background of the conflict back to 67 or 73 or 48 or whenever, or even the Balfour Declaration of 1917 times. But that is what a good student should do because you want to understand as an issue. You can't only look at what happened today. You'll have to look at where it, go into the root causes. So that's fair. That for a good understanding of an issue, you should look into the background. That is what we recommend to the students.
JP sir, your views? GK?
Yeah, I agree with Rahul. I find students going overboard with GK, and that is something should to be avoided. It is important, no doubt about it. It is probably the most scoring part of the paper, obviously only if you know the answers. And this year's paper was slightly different, so a high score was possible with less preparation, but that need not be the case, or that is usually not the case. Okay, but I don't think it is a section on which you need to spend 6 hours, 8 hours a day. If you are spending maybe a couple of hours, it is more than enough. I probably might be overboard also. And as Rahul said, focus on the important things, and whatever you pick up, go deep into it. Rather than being spreading yourself horizontally, you need to say, okay, these are the issues I'm doing. Let me go deep into it, and and then it is not a problem. But if you are going to only spread yourself thin, then whatever the topic comes, you will not be able to answer all the questions pertaining to that particular issue. Yeah. And please avoid UPSC is my sincere request to all students. You are preparing for CLAT, not for UPSC. So please prepare as per the requirements of the paper.
Right. Okay. So basically what we are saying for GK is follow one source, be structured in your approach, don't go overboard. I mean, there is no end to it. Now, coming to an important part, I personally feel that this year, those who have done well in mathematics have secured good rank,
Mm.
and that was the differentiator.
Mm.
So let me start with Rahul sir. Rahul sir, we come across a lot of students who simply hesitate to attempt maths. They simply avoid it. And this year's paper made it absolutely clear that if you are not doing well in maths, maybe you will not get any NLU, even if you have done well in other sections. For example, rank number 91, I think, has secured around 900 rank. Marks 91 has secured around 900 rank, and 88 marks person has secured around 2200 rank, and 78 goes down to 6000, 7000 rank. Factually I may be incorrect, but that's the kind of range we are talking about. So what will be your message to the people who avoid maths? How to develop it? That's the main thing. Solution for that.
Okay. a little background first. So part of the message that came across in the earlier CLATs, the 150 question CLATs, was it's possible to score well without doing maths. I think that message became a little dangerous. It could be true in a particular year. For example, the 23 CLAT maths was on the tougher side. You had 150 questions. So there were people who got 1 or 2 marks in maths and got a pretty good score. It was possible. But if you actually understand, this was something that as faculty we discussed in CL. The minute it went from 150 to 120, we said, look, maths is going to be very, very important. Because when they were 150, good students were attempting 135. In the same time, if you give them 120, they'll most certainly attempt 120. You keep counting how many toppers that I've spoken to. I'm sure you've done the same. Who said, "Sir, pura khatam kar diya 120 questions. I had 5 minutes to spare." So these are people who will not. And if you want to compete with somebody by attempting 12 questions less, it's foolishness. It doesn't work that way. The second very important thing we should look at is it's not ability in maths that's the problem. It is the fear of maths that's the problem. Too much of fear that they don't want to try. Because the kind of maths that CLAT gives is not high level maths. It's 8th, 9th kind of maths. And see how many humanities students who haven't taken maths in 11 and 12 were getting very good scores in this CLAT. All because they just put some effort, learned it, practiced it, did some speed calculation, and attempted it. So if somebody says that I didn't do well in CLAT because of math, then he or she is going to have nobody else to blame except herself. Because everybody around her was telling them that, look, maths is important. You had time to prepare. Concepts were already known to you. It's just you let your fear, destroy your chances.
Right. So the solution is first, those who are hesitant, those who are afraid, you need to accept this fact that maths you have to attempt. Only then you can take the next step of practicing, going down, sitting with the mentor, and solving the more question. My last question, Rahul sir, two messages for two section of people. I mean, one, Rahul Reddy ka message as a mentor to the other mentors, and Rahul Reddy as a student ka message to the other students, other aspirants. क्या होगा sir?
I think if I look at mentors in the CL system, I'm actually junior. So GP sir anyway is the original guru. But even you have probably spent much more time than I have with respect to that. We've seen our results. The results are spread across the board from all the centers. So I don't know how much I can add, but the CL mentors are doing a fascinating, fantastic job.
No, sir.
They
When
do.
I'm saying mentors, that doesn't restrict to CL. When I'm saying students, it doesn't restrict to CL students. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yes. So I think it's important that any mentor takes the job of training people beyond what is called as teaching of the basics. Right? Teaching of the basics, I think any decent faculty in English or reasoning or math can possibly do that. But if you are looking at training people for a competitive exam, the prerequisite is that you understand the exam. Right? And as GP sir pointed out, it's if I get the paper from a student after the exam, everything is going to look very simple. Right? For example, if I look at this year's paper outside of exam condition, I would not believe that I would mess up something like 12 is to 13 ke jagah 13 is to 12 mark. Right? I would not believe that with my experience, I would tick something in the question paper and mark something else on the OMR. These are silly mistakes that we want student, but it still happens to us once in a while. So it's okay. So that's what not having the pressure of actually seeking a seat and still I make mistakes. So it's very human for students to make mistakes, but also very important that faculty have to really understand the exam. And if that requires taking the exam, then they should. And remember, we don't make the rules. If this was considered in some way wrong, the consortium would put an age limit and that will simply or a number of attempts limit, either of which would probably be effective in stopping mentors from taking the test. So the fact that they're not doing it, so they see that there is no ethical violation in that sense. Okay. The second is understand that the exam is a mind game. I think that's where spending time with students, mentoring them more when it comes closer to the exam, you also see their mindset and understand their mindset. give them equal parts of uh, coaching and moral support. So that's the message for the mentors. For the students, I think a small, short list of things that we can learn. One, I think, is look at the on a broad perspective, look at the toppers of this year's CLAT, see their interviews and listen to what they have to say. Look at their profile. They come from all streams. There are science students. There are science students who prepared uh, till a year back for JEE or NEET. There are commerce students as well as humanities students, right? So what you have taken as a stream doesn't define what you need to be. I mean, you still have the freedom to pick what you want, right? If you enjoy uh, a particular career or a particular subject, then you can go for it. Your stream doesn't stop you. I think that's very important to look at. The second thing to look at is it's an age old wisdom: trust one guru, right? So I'm not making a pitch for our company, but I'm saying you do your due diligence. But once you pick a guru, the problem is you start picking multiple gurus.
Mm.
As this person on YouTube said something, that person on Twitter said something, then you typically nothing will work for you. Okay, you do your research before picking the guru. Once you pick the guru or in an organization or a system, then trust it. You can't keep second guessing a system that has been known to work. That I think is the second important thing. Third is, like all competitive exams, the exam is not your problem. The difficulty level is not the problem. It is time and the other people who are writing the exam. So everybody said this year CLAT was very easy. So what happened? NLS takes the same number of students. Did more people get in because the paper was easy? It doesn't work that way. Cutoff goes up, that's all. So if we, for some miraculously reduce air resistance, doesn't mean you will win 100 meters race, right? The same faster guy will beat you. Yeah, your time might get better, but you're still going to be fourth. So understand competition is the key. And competition is tricky. There are 55, 60,000 exact numbers will come out, people who are gunning for that particular seat at the NLU, and these are good students. Some of the cream of students of India are fighting for this exam. It's not that the best students automatically go to IITJ anymore. We have some really, really talented students who are going for this particular exam. Debaters, munners, people with half a page of extracurricular bio, and academic scores too, who are going. So it is competitive. So prepare hard. Uh, don't go by easy, difficult. Understand you have to maximize, and understand that it's going to be mental also. So try to have a good support group with you. Supportive parents help. Good supportive mentors will help. Supportive students that you prepare together as a study group also helps.
Right. GB sir, final words from your side for the mentors, for the students.
Yeah, for the mentors, I'll say exactly what Rahul said, was paper lene ki aadat dalo. If you are preparing your students, you should also be able to do as well, if not better than your students. Ideally, I want my students to do better than me. But then it is also my ego weight comes in. देखता हूँ मैं भी कितना अच्छा करता हूँ. Okay, and believe me, we are not the only ones. I know there's a CEO of an organization, listed organization, who takes CAT every year just to test himself. So there are multiple things out there. So mental, if you are into this business, it is my job to be updated, and hence I have to definitely, because how do I guide a counselor student the outside mind game? If I am not able to handle that mind game, how do I guide my student towards that? So for mentors, it is essential, especially if you're in this business and not taking the paper, you're not doing justice to your job, first of all. From a student perspective, I would say, again, I'll build out on what Rahul said, but disagree with him. Okay. He said, I am not making a pitch for LST. No, I am making a pitch for LST. I know LST is the best. I know the LST mentors are more dedicated than mentors any other place. I know LST mentors put in that extra bit, that extra effort, and are willing to take that shame of not doing well in the exam, and yet we go every year to take that paper to confront our let's say inefficiency or deficiencies also. So we have the best people. So if you have to pick one guru, the only guru you have to pick is from the LSC system. Whether it is Bhilai, it is Bombay, it is Ranchi, it is Bangalore, does not matter. It has to be a LST, which has to be the place where you go. Finally, please remember, when CLAT came out with the change that this is going to be 120, we were possibly the only one. And I still remember it was either 19th or 20th August. We said, boss, if you will not do maths, you will fail. And why are we able to do it? We are able to do it because we take papers, we interact with students, we understand this paper, or not only this, but all papers better than most of the people in the country. Okay, so we were the ones who said maths ke bina nahi chalega is saal. You have to take maths, and because as Rahul said, with 120 minutes now you don't even have the excuse of saying ki math ka time nahi hai. You have that. So Career Launcher LST is the place where you should be going. Is my simple message to students if you're serious about CLAT.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rahul sir. Thank you so much, GP sir. So the final message is in front of you. So as a mentor, we have given some insight. As a student, Rahul sir, GP sir has given few insights, right? So the most important thing, the purpose that we talked about is to tell that how much we believe in our principle of mentoring. We sit with the students inside the exam hall, and I will repeat again, GP sir said, I will repeat again, that we are not ashamed if we do not do well, because our purpose is not showcasing our performance. If it happens, great, we will enjoy it, no doubt about it. The way we are enjoying Rahul sir's success, we will enjoy the success. We will like our faculties to do well, but the primary agenda is to understand the exam well, to feel empathy, being empathetic towards the students. That's what we believe in. So that's the final message from our side. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rahul sir. Thank you, GP sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.